I present to you the man leading one of the biggest hotel chains in the world, Mr. Sébastien Bazin, Group Chairman and CEO, Accor. After several years of working in different positions across the globe, Mr. Bazin moved to Colony Capital in 1997 to head up its European branch, where he led several acquisitions, principally in the hospitality sector. He joined Accor's board of directors in 2005 and via Colony Capital became a St. Paris Germain shareholder in 2006 and the club's chairman in 2009. In August 2013, he resigned from his duties at Colony Capital and was appointed chairman and CEO of Accor. In conversation with Mr. Bazin, we have Mr. Manav Thadani, founder, chairman, Hotelivate.
Thank you, Trusha. Good afternoon, Sebastian.
Was they talking about me?
I think so.
Okay.
But you know, last HICSA, you said, to quote, "Why don't you accept a French guy to invade your territory?" Right? Yes, we do, and we're very happy to have you back.
No. Let's make sure, I guess. I said, why don't you accept the French guys? A French guy will never succeed in India unless being guided by local partners' Indian knowledge. So it was the end of the sentence. Alone, I have nobody here.
Okay. Well, first of all, congratulations. I know you had a big announcement and you went to press, but we'll come back to that in a bit. I'm wondering how the landscape has changed in the last 1 year. I'm talking about the global landscape. We hear a lot of things. What is your views on that?
If I want to be
honest,
honest and provocative, it has not changed.
It has not changed.
No. Anything we do at hospitality players is minimum 7-year bet and likely 10 to 20-year bet. What matters is not geopolitics. It is, of course, macroeconomy, but not that much. It only matters on 3 very simple engines. Do we have a higher demography in the world? Growing. Answer is yes. And that's going to be the case until probably the next 12 years. Do we have an emerging middle class, rising income globally? Answer is yes. Do you have an increased level of infrastructure, be it train, airline, roads? Answer is yes. As long as you have those 3 engines on, of course you're going to be navigating from probably fragile economies, and that will have impact on GDP, and you need to avoid those storms if you could. But if you look at the globality of travel and tourism, I have no doubt that, I guess, for the next decade, from what I said last year, he hasn't changed.
Right.
Because you're going to go into, likely, 4 to 6% demand growth in travel per year for the next 10 to 15 years. And you're going to have a supply which is going to grow max 1.5 to 2% in the world. And if you have a lot of hiccup in terms of GDP, inflation, interest rate, well, that supply may be less than 1.5, could be 0.5%. So you're going to have a demand which is going to be exceeding supply by probably 3 times over the next 10 years. Question is, it's not, and I've been saying it so straightforwardly, it's not why should you play. You know you have to play if you're interested into the 2nd largest industry vertical in the world, which is travel tourism. It's where do you play and how do you play, which is what I said last year. And we decided at Accor a long time ago, we want to play. We decided not to be depending only on Europe. So we've been diminishing Europe from 85% of Accor to today 45%. And we decided voluntarily to go fast in the Middle East, fast in Southeast Asia, fast in Australia, fast in South America, and decided this morning to go even faster in India. So it's just, by saying it, I just want to be sure I'm not blind. I know exactly what's happening between Monsieur Trump, Monsieur Putin, Monsieur Xi Jinping, and Madame Angela Merkel. I mean, all of that I know. We know what's happening. Ursula von der Leyen now. It's just be aware of it, understand you're going to have an impact. It could reduce consumer spending. People are going to have anxiety. They may travel a bit less, but at scale, don't change your mind all the time.
Right. Do you think because you're a French company compared to your peers, who are American-based, you're better off, or that doesn't really matter?
No, I don't think so, because it's the American hotel companies are basically enjoying an 85% domestic American market.
Right.
And I've been saying for many, many years, I wish Accor would have a greater presence in America. This is the best hospitality market in terms of fee stream, in terms of profit margin, in terms of franchise business. So, and I said this morning, don't ever bet against America.
Right. So you have luxury, you have lifestyle now, which you're focusing on more increasingly, and then you've always had the economy brands. How do you see the future of Accor? Is it with everyone, or do you see one slightly ahead of the other?
No, the future of Accor is, first, it's very solid. It took me and the group 10 years to transform this company into a sleeping eco mid-scale giant, European. I said 3 years more than I expected myself, so I have to be humble in terms of transformation, but it's behind us. I see Accor growing faster. We said in 2023, we're the first company to be super loud on saying, I'm going to project myself in front of the public market for 5 years projection, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. And we said we're going to grow 3 to 5% RevPAR. We're going to grow 6 to 8% revenue. We're going to grow 9 to 12% EBITDA. We've made 23, we've made 24, we're going to make 25. And let's make sure we make 26 and 27. And by meeting it, I need buffers, because I'm going to go into some fragile RevPAR environment. Of course I know this.
Right.
But we have a lot of things we haven't done over the last few years, which is technology, which is software, Adobe, Salesforce, IDs, Amadeus. Those technology enhancers are going to provide me the buffer I need if I don't have the top line. So it's one of those moments where I think we master well the present and the future.
Right. And I see an increased focus, because you've been coming here for 10 years, at least that I've been around. You started focusing on Ennismore. I think you've made a few announcements even for this market in the last few months. Is that a major focus for Accor, and increasingly?
Yeah, Ennismore is a pure beauty. It's in the hands of one of the top 5 leaders when it comes to hospitality, which is Gaurav Bhusham and Sharan Parishar. We put together 17 brands, almost 12 different acquisitions, 10 different jurisdictions between Germany, Turkey, France, America. It's autonomous, it's empowered. They have their own social media, they have their own app. They get what they need from me, but we don't impose anything on them. They grow at a 35% EBITDA CAGR. They go at a 15 to 17% net new growth. They are 2-3 years ahead of anybody else in the market.
Right.
Because we've been putting all this together through COVID when people were in fear. You know, this is one of those moments, you really make money when you have troubled water. That's what I've learned in private equity. So accept the things you don't control, but take advantage of it. And Ennismore is a pure built-up of brands we acquired fairly reasonably in between 2024 up until 2014 and 2024. So they're ahead, and the reason why they're ahead is because they were the first, and we talked about it here with you guys, to say, if you want to cater for better growth, think first about the local inhabitants. Right. The entire Ennismore, Morgan's, Hoxton, Mama Shelter, Delano, SLS, they're being built, programmed, designed for the bars, for the restaurants, for the public spaces, for people to go in, enjoy 3 or 4 hours, but then probably don't sleep there. And I don't care, because if you have succeeded seducing the locals, the travelers will pick your place, which is why they're also full in terms of room revenues, but 50% of the revenues are coming from local community. Right. And it's a wonderful recipe, tough to replicate.
Right. I travel a lot, meet a lot of owners, both here and obviously in Southeast Asia and Middle East now. A little over a year, and you used this word, you did a transformation of the organization, right? Where you kind of had Accor broken down to luxury, and then you had the mid-scale stuff, and then you had Ennismore. Has this caused a lot of confusion for owners, who now don't know who to go to, or any thoughts on that?
No, it depends. I'll tell you. In terms of operating expertise, in terms of brand promise, brand fulfillment, operational metrics, much simpler for the owners because they have experts within Lux Lifestyle, and they have also different expertise for premium mid-scale economy brands. I was wrong in asking one guy in Europe to be in front of the Raffles owners, Fairmont owners, Ibis owners. He was probably a good Novotel expert, but he knew nothing about Raffles. So putting that in two different divisions was absolutely valid, and owners are very happy because they know that the person they talk to is as expert as they are. There's one thing where it hasn't helped is development. A lot of owners are multi-brands, multi-segments, and they do like having one liaison officer that they talk to across the 47 portfolio of brands. So we need to be careful on not imposing on an owner different developers depending on his wishes. That's the only thing where we probably need to get better. For the rest, I would never, ever go back.
Right. So in your view, integrating technology is something that I know you've spoken very passionately about. What do we see next? Robot chefs, robot housekeepers?
You see, of course, AI is going to be, it started a long time ago. All the software company that we talked about, the Amadeus and, of course, Adobe Salesforce, have been AI-based for 7-10 years. So there's nothing new there. When you talk to the AI people, and they've been going into a big international AI summit in Paris a month and a half ago, and I had the privilege to go and have a dinner with the top 5 AI guys. And we were like 25 people in a room. And of course, I know very little about it, and I'm asking one of the big AI CEO, and I said, sir, just do me a favor. I work in the hotel industry. How could I judge what you're going to do in the travel hospitality sector? And he paused a solid 90 seconds. And he knew he had like 20 CEO industry in the rooms. And he said something which was so interesting. He said, Sébastien, you must be the only lucky guy in the room. I said, anybody which is automotive, which is pharmaceutical, industrial, AI will disrupt your operating model, your process. For you as hospitality, there's nothing we're going to be disrupting from you. We're going to give you a better tool before, after the stay, seamless process. But no way on earth would AI interfere on that welcoming, caring, human interaction. No intention to have robot. So take us as a partner, but there's nothing. So he was actually engaging, and which is what we've been telling you. We may not have the top line, but each of you in the room, we should welcome automation when it comes to that customer base, the knowledge, the process, the push, the app. All of that's going to be enhanced, probably at a cheaper cost. And those people no longer doing those tasks, revenue management, price sensitivity, don't lay off those people. Get them back in front of the customers. This is what they better use. So I'm not at all afraid about AI.
Right. So maybe enough about Accor Global. Congratulations. Like I said, you had an announcement earlier today. I just want to talk a little bit about you because last year, before I get to that, last year in HICSA Bangalore, you said something, and I'm wondering if my team can put it up on the screen if you want to read it. But Accor-InterGlobe is a very interesting example of a relationship where we had the best partner we can dream of India, Mr. Rahul Bhatia, InterGlobe founder, has a vision and has created something unbelievably successful. The company is opening a new airline hubs in 80 cities. He also had the capital capability to execute this, but together, both of us did not succeed. I would say in my own words, I'm not blaming him. He probably blames me. We need to sit down and understand where it is and that we have gone wrong. We've probably got to rethink and take our partnership because we can do miracles together. So my question to you is...
There's so many things I say and so many places, sometimes I should shut up. So it's, but that's okay. I just.
Well, clearly, some miracles do happen or are happening, and you found time, perhaps, to sit
Yeah.
with Mr. Bhatia, your Indian partner. Your announcement seems to be well thought out, strategic, not just with, you've had a couple of announcements. Let's talk about the InterGlobe hotels. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? And, is that your vehicle to conquer India?
Yeah, it's just. And last year, at the same time, we had Rahul Bhatia's father who was there, and you being very kind enough to honor him, and I was very, very glad actually to be next to him. This year, and it's something that I guess I have been imposing on Rahul, and there's nothing much you can do and impose on this gentleman, and he was kind enough to come today. And to be in the room. So I'm going to invite Rahul to join us, and I want all you to know, he's only doing it as a favor because he hates it. But I really implore him to come, only because I wanted to have these two voices. But as odd as it is, and maybe foolish as it was, I probably don't take any words away from what I said last year. It's just, I felt we had the best partner ever, the best trust and friendship that I built with Rahul over years. I felt we had a great knowledge about India, and of course he does. But I also felt that I guess it's kind of bizarre that I guess we're not moving, we're not deploying, we don't have the speed, we don't have maybe the right organization, they don't have the right autonomy, or they don't have the right resources. I was angry at myself. I was not angry at him. But because of this, and probably thanks to you, Manav, is exactly 6 weeks after, I went to see him. I said, Rahul, this is what I feel. Are you really happy with what we built? He said, Sébastien, I'm blessed to know you, but I've been asking for you to come and see me for the last 2 years. He was probably asking much more of it than I was telling you last year, and I simply did not listen to him. So we sat down. It took 7 months, and then we'll explain it to you. One meeting after the other is we said, okay, what do we do on hospitality? What do we do with the team? What do we do with focus? What do we do in governance? What do we do in technology? How could we associate better loyalty program? And then it came up with the 3 announcements made this morning: InterGlobe, governance, one unique vehicle. Then, of course, doing something with our friends from Tribo, which they are absolutely extraordinary. And then convincing Peter Elbers from Indigo Airlines, can we just team up on loyalty? So this is the announcement today. It's not going to make us that different from many other players, but certainly you're going to see speed, scale, and mega differences in the years to come. And the pie is so large in India between all the beautiful players, there's plenty enough for all of us to play. But before I say too much, because I want Rahul,
we have more seats out
but
here.
I want Rahul to come here. I would love Rahul Bhatia to come here. Sorry.
Mr. Bhatia, welcome. Come. Do you want to come in the right here? Welcome, Mr. Bhatia, to HICSA. We were really honored to have Mr. Kapil Bhatia with us last year when we honored him. So today it's really a bonus for having you here. So thank you for being here.
You got to thank Sébastien, not me.
So do you want to, either of you want to explain what you guys have announced today?
I just did, so I
But
just...
you'd like to add anything to that?
And I said this a couple of times today in the press conference, and then we had some one-on-ones with the press. I've been watching Sébastien from a distance for a while, and I've seen the evolution in Accor under his leadership, and of course, what Gaurav is doing with Ennismore. And given where they're headed, and given the aspiring India that's coming up, we think there's a convergence, and Sébastien is right. I'd been knocking at his door for a long time, and I think something must have happened last year, and we sat down, we talked, Gaurav and Aditya, who runs InterGlobe, the group. They have spent an enormous amount of time over the last 8 or 9 months to put this package together. It's actually quite simple. I mean, we have many elements of the relationship, and what we've decided is we want to integrate them into one unit, brings the agility in the business, clear line of execution, and we truly believe that in the context of India, we can actually create a vehicle that will position Accor and its products in a significant sort of presence in the marketplace.
Right.
Yeah. You know, people will say we were too slow for the first 20 years. But I say that the fact that the relationship survived for 20 years speaks volumes about it.
Right.
And you know, it's obviously predicated on trust and goodwill and a collective belief on where we want to go. And I'm mighty pleased that we were able to cross the line today. And then, of course, with Peter and Sébastien, the thing they're going to do on loyalty, which we think has enormous potential.
Right.
So it's a great start. And as Indigo grows, and Sébastien was saying to one of the journalists, I didn't want to interrupt. So of course, Indigo is doing and will continue to do what it's doing domestically, but increasingly it's going to spread its footprint globally. And if I know the network plan for the next few years, this company will start flying into geographies of strength of Accor in Europe, in Asia, down in Australia. So I think we are well set. And of course, with like anything else in life, it's execution, how well you can execute and how quickly you can execute. And I think the new framework will give us that ability.
Right. Sébastien, I had an earlier question when I said you had broken down the company into different geographies, but from what I'm hearing and what I read through the press release, which I got a couple of hours ago, you're making one integrated entity in India, which will have perhaps one CEO or someone like that who will run the business. So isn't that different from what you're doing in other parts of the world?
Yeah, the answer is yes, and there's a but. We've done it in China. China is one vehicle, one common team, and it's been working successfully ever since for the last 15 years. We're going to replicate a bit of the China success story in India, but there's a but. For preserving the brand promise, the brand standards, the general managers of hotels, no question within that unique vehicle in which we put all the brands of Accor, all the operational expertise, all the distribution, all the capital, we're going to have two separate teams within that vehicle, one for the luxe lifestyle and one for premium mid-scale and economy. I need to make sure that we continue to work beautifully for the brand promise, for the experience, and for the expertise. So, and that's okay. You can do it with it as long as you understand that, again, those two teams are going to have the right autonomy. All the rest, the back of the house, you can mutualize it. So it's, we're going to be demultiplying resources, growing 5 times faster. We know we have the 300 benchmark in 2030. There's nothing to be proud about. I know people here in this room earlier today, huge respect for Radisson, huge respect for Indian hotels. They're going to go for 500, they're going to go to 700, and they will succeed. But you know what? I told you last year, we have 2,000 hotels in France, Accor alone. So 300 is not the end game, and I wish all of us will have 1,000, 2,000 hotels 20 years from today. We're just catching up, but I was sick and tired of being late all the time. So we don't need to be the top. We need to be very credible. The one thing I hope we have, the breadth and diversity of the 47 brands of Accor in this planet, and I said that because I'm French, it is far different and in many ways better than many other portfolios existing today under a single hat. And you're going to see Ennis More, you're going to see Emblem, you're going to see so many. There's only 11 brands today of Accor in India. Why that is? We should have at least 30 here. So it's just turbocharging what we have done and doing it better. But respect, admiration for anybody in this industry. There's enough space for each of us to basically being a strong operator.
Mr. Bhatia, since I have you here today, if I'm correct, you've also picked up a few assets in Europe. Paris, Barcelona, London, Vienna, and I think it's a brand called Miro. I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I don't think so this audience really knows.
Yeah, we picked up a portfolio of, well, we currently have 15 assets internationally. One of them is currently managed by Sheraton in Amsterdam. And we decided we wanted to launch our own brand. I mean, Sébastien used to keep telling me that, RB, maybe we can do something together. But we wanted to try this out. We launched the first product in Paris in the summer over the Olympic Games, and then in Barcelona. We're opening up London. In fact, it should be open any day, and then a couple in Vienna. So we're going to, but this initiative of these international hotels is, for the moment, it's just an InterGlobe initiative. The initial feedback we get from customers is quite encouraging. We'll see how it goes.
Sure. And one thing which has happened in the last 5 years, particularly post-COVID, is that I've seen at least 5 or 6 companies in India go public through the IPO route. Is that something that could happen at a future date for you guys, or?
The answer is it could, and it will happen on the only one condition. Do we need excess capital?
Sure.
If there's no need for any excess capital, there's no need to add complexity. So, and both partners have plenty of experienced capital. We're certainly going to be looking for many more new real estate investors, hospital investors to come along. And then we'll decide in a year, 2 years, 3 years from today, do we need the extra mile? And is listing appropriate? But it is not in the cards today.
So your growth could be asset light or asset heavy, depending on the opportunity?
No, it is asset light. We're going asset light. Accor is not going to go back on 9 years of transformation. We had a privilege of having 40 owners last night with us for dinner at this magnificent Fairmont. If you haven't been to Fairmont in Mumbai, I need to be respectful to Nathan and his family. It is magnificent. And I've never seen so much appetite, envy from those current ownership of Accor. They want to do more. They want to access many more brands of this company. So, and they understand and they do it faster, better, with a greater assessment of the risk that probably both of us can do it. So why don't we basically do it in partnership together? And in many, maybe you're going to have some rare occasion where we can source deal and probably do it together if we wanted to, but that should be the exception.
Right. So obviously you're going to look for a new CEO. We've got 500 hoteliers out here, so maybe the future CEO is in this room, perhaps.
We are demultiplying this unique vehicle together. It is an extraordinary journey, and okay, in my seat it's easier for me. When you really pause a minute and you understand the journey, the adventures, the size of India, it's a pretty good set of characters between Monsieur Bhatia, InterGlobe, Accor, Tribo, and the loyalty of the best airline in this country. You cannot do much better.
Right.
So if somebody wants to join the journey, well, yeah,
send us a CV. No. Can you tell a little bit about Tribo, because I know that was also in the announcement, and what exactly are you doing with that?
Tribo is, we met Sid Gupta and his co-founders 5 years ago, and that time he was kind of a venture capital, and we've met him at the same time we've met the people from Oyo, and I was intrigued by the youth, the humbleness, the speed, and what they're trying to put together. And 5 years later, we invested a small amount at that time. That way we get contact. And then I see them as of yesterday with 850 hotels, which is an enormous number, with probably 18,000 rooms. And they've done something that really no one has done at scale, which is putting together PMS and CRS and connecting a hotel within 2.5 hours. It still takes Accor 20 days to connect a hotel.
Right.
And they do it fast, they do it professionally, they do it with the agility of that entrepreneurship. We just decided to actually go and go faster with them. And as I said to you earlier, you find profitability, most of it also through technology and automation. So, and since they've been growing up as being distributor and operator, we went 1 mile extra by saying, why don't we just give Tribo the benefit of a big master franchise for Ibis and Mercure, and let's see where that leads us. And in a matter of only 6 weeks, they signed 10 Mercure. So it's between the leap of faith and true conviction that those guys are very good, and certainly necessity for us to have that technology partners and the agility, but all the Tribo branded hotels are not part of it. Let's not be confusing. We cannot put one of our brands on what they've assembled together because they're not really equipped for the size of the boxes we need to get into. So I have a huge trust and confidence in the team.
Mr. Bhatia, putting a propco company and an operating company all in one, it's not a very common thing. We haven't seen too many of that. Any thoughts on why you're doing that?
Well, we don't do common things normally as a business. So, yeah, we just believe that integrating the whole thing is actually going to be beneficial for the journey we are embarking on. I want to say one thing which I said earlier today. We had a little town hall. I met Peter Elbers, was I think January of 2022. I was trying to convince him to come and do his magic at the airline. And I said to Peter, Peter, I know that the opportunity in India is large. What I don't know is how large is that opportunity. And in hospitality, we personally see it no differently. We think hospitality in the organized sector is still in its nascent stage of evolution in the country. And we truly believe that what we are trying to do with Sébastien and company over a period of time will turn out to be a very encouraging enterprise.
So if I had to ask you one question, your favorite international brand outside of Accor?
Your brand.
Sorry?
You're giving him a safe
Your brand in Europe.
No, I was going to say Indigo.
Well, thank you. You did have today a second announcement related to Indigo Airlines. So I don't know if you want to talk to Peter or how do you want to?
Yeah, I think.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peter, why don't you tell us what you've gone and done with Accor today?
I think we've sorry. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having me here. Today we have done something which is one of its kind and unique in India itself. A airline which has a strong and deeply rooted Indian foundation, working with a global brand as Accor is. And actually, Indigo has launched its loyalty program. We announced it 6 months ago. We have started it 4.5 months ago. In just that short time span, we had the opportunity in signing up 2.5 million members in just a couple of months. And with the speed of development and the growth of Indigo and the further internationalization, this was a not to be missed opportunity in teaming up with a great company as Accor is, and actually having the opportunity for our loyalty customers to make use of the network and portfolio of Accor globally, and vice versa for our core customers to make use of Indigo.
Right. Sébastien, I'm sure you have other tie-ups with other airlines, so why this one is so much more special?
Yeah, we have partnership with many airlines. It's a double bet, and I think I've talked about it last year with you. there is an enormous necessity for Accor to irrigate better the India domestic market in terms of experience, in terms of data knowledge, in terms of relationship with our own clients. There's nobody better within the travel hospitality industry in India than Indigo Airlines. I think everybody will concur this. So we're betting on basically having that customer attraction within domestic India, but there's another angle, which is the second bet, which is probably as important as the first one, and probably relevant for both of us. International routes. They're going into 40 routes, and I'm going to let Peter talk about, of course, what he's doing. But when we've been discussing about it like 6 or 7 months ago, we realized in probably less than 1 day that 100% of all the Indigo existing international destination, Accor is 80% of the time the leader and 20% of the time number 2. So the match between what they do today domestically, what they do today and tomorrow internationally, it's extraordinary. Why? Because Accor is number 1 in Southeast Asia, in Middle East, in Egypt, in so many places. So we're going to be the recipient, the welcomers of so many international travelers outside of India. And you guys know, it's 45, 48 million this year, and it will be well over 100 million in 7 years from today. I can't miss that ride.
Peter, I was at Skift. You were speaking out there. I think you said that 8% of all the airline or airplane deliveries was done for Indigo. Can you tell this audience what's happening and how many planes? And
well, the Indian aviation landscape is going through a massive change. And just look at the numbers of Indigo. Prior to COVID, Indigo was welcoming 75 million customers a year. Last calendar year, 2024, we welcomed 113 million. So that's a jump from 75 to 113 million. Every day we welcome about 3.5 lakh customers. So every 3 days, 1 million customers on board of that. So that growth is phenomenal, and the post-COVID recovery is much bigger than anywhere else in the world. Having said that, the penetration of air travel in India is still relatively limited, and a number which I use quite frequently. There's around 750 planes in India. Pretty much half of them are from Indigo. There's about 3,500 planes in China. So just take 750 planes in India, 3,500 planes in China. For a country which, in terms of size of the population, is very similar. And yes, economically, there's still sort of a way to go. But that in itself demonstrates the potential. So if you believe in that potential, then having the world's largest order book as Indigo, 900 plus planes on order, is in fact just a number which is actually needed in order to match that demand going forward. And yes, you're right, last year we had the largest number of plane deliveries from any airline in the world from Airbus. 58 planes were delivered to Indigo, so that's more than 1 a week. And with that, you know, think about that. Airbus is producing planes for all over the world, and the planes are coming from Hamburg and Toulouse. And then 1 out of 12, 1 out of 13 planes being produced there is going actually on an Indigo tail. That in itself is phenomenal. And again, it's partly domestic and also very much on the international side. And building on what Sébastien said, you know, we doubled the number of international destinations from 20 to 40 in a short time frame. And India has been way too long, I guess, dependent on non-Indian operators for its international air travel. I think this is a great opportunity out there to sort of regain some of that share and build on that. And to Sébastien's point, I mean, we operate 260 flights a week to the UAE. All the places we operate, Accor is market leader. We moved to Singapore from 3 destinations in India today into 9. So all these places, and we made the mapping, and that was actually a short conversation. When you look at the map and say, you know, there could not have been a better partner for either side of it. And then the rest is just, you know, detailing of the arrangement.
And did the whole business class thing that you've started is because of the international travel, or was that something that's working out for the domestic market as well?
Well, thanks for asking that. You know, we start with the business class on domestic, on the business and busiest routes of the nations, which obviously Delhi, Mumbai was the right place to start, where we operate 40 sectors a day. Meanwhile, all 40 are being covered by the business class. The same is on Delhi, Bangalore. We started on Delhi, Chennai, and we are about to start on Delhi, Hyderabad as well. That is going to be 10 to 12 routes out of the 450 or 480 we operate domestic. So it's a small portion. But one should look at the initiatives we do in connection to each other. You know, the India of today is no longer the India which was there 18 years ago when the company was founded. And neither will the India of 2030 be the same India as today. So if you take these elements, it's a very natural evolution of that. And that new business class is covering the needs of aspirational India, if you wish. And the frequent flyer program and the loyalty program is actually right next to it.
That, yeah.
So internationalization, loyalty, business class, it's all connected. These are not decisions in isolation. And therefore, we're very excited with the announcement today. And that means our customers, basically, as from probably 1 month from now, maximum 2, will have the opportunity to start burning their blue chip points on the Accor hotels.
Right. Sébastien, you can have the last question. You've been leading Accor now for a decade.
Yep.
And what has been your biggest lesson as a hospitality leader?
It's not a lesson, and it's bizarre because we haven't talked much about it today at all, but this is what I stand for. Accor's purpose is so relevant today, and it's being basically defined a couple years ago. It says pioneering the art of responsible hospitality, connecting cultures with heartfelt care. It's all about India. It's pioneering, it's connecting, it's culture, it's responsibility, it's heartfelt. If anything, we would have succeeded together with InterGlobe only if one thing happening. And probably I'm including all the other hospitality players. India and the growth of the economy is going to require a massive amount of job being offered to those underprivileged people of India who do not have the means, the chance and the privileges to go to university and never worked before. And they're waiting for somebody to show them a hand. If anybody in the industry could do this, it happens to be airline hospitality, and 90% of those jobs are given to local community in local destinations. So it's not a lesson, it's a wish of testimony of my life and Accor and InterGlobe. Can we be the leader in offering a job that for those people who actually are dying for this?
Great. Thank you, Sébastien. I call you Sébastien the Conqueror. Now you have wings beneath you, so I think you're all set for a wonderful journey.
Just smile about it. Having a Dutch guy and a French guy in India giving you kind of actually where India is going,
one of the best partners.
That is frightening.
So
it's, it's blessed. And thank you for hosting us
Thank you so much
today.
for coming again. Thank you.